Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing tonight? A lot going on out there. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Glinda. Hi, Joe. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Matt. Hi, other Debbie. Hi, Richard. Hi, Mark. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, everyone. How you guys doing tonight? If you can, please hit that share button for us to get that out there as far as possible. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. I'll fix my hat just so I look right. Yeah, a lot going on out there, of course. What did Nancy start? Don't even know yet. It's getting bigger and bigger as the day goes on, though. But hi, Holly, and hi, Glinda. Deanne, Mikey. Yep. China, all talk. Well, China was all talk. But I see some actual movements happening now. China has surrounded Taiwan and flying aircraft over, of course, blockading them. And now putting harsh sanctions on them, not sending them any food, basically, or any goods. We'll see how long this lasts. But whole world's in hell at this point. I mean, this axis of power that's happened, this new change of dynamics that we haven't seen in quite a long time for Taiwan and the U.S. because we haven't pushed a force like this. We haven't sent a Speaker of the House in or any higher up representatives into Taiwan directly against Russia. Now we have China, Russia, and Iran, all three nations, which are hostile to Washington, appearing to be ramping up cooperations together. This isn't just worrying about China. This isn't just worrying about one of these countries. It's about all three of them together as one. Of course, Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan brought to the surface China's hostility towards America and Beijing's irate response to the trips, calling question how far Xi Jinping's government might go if Washington ignores the threats. Of course, we're already seeing the blockade and sanction of goods going to Taiwan, which is going to starve those people out. They don't produce anything. The only thing they produce is the stuff we desperately need here in the U.S., like semiconductors and chips and stuff that we rely on a daily basis. So it's not going to be long before we really feel the hit here in America directly from this. People might be saying, well, it's not me. It's not affected me yet. Doesn't affect my life. Well, it will. Whereas China said they would do military action, which they haven't done yet. But we know they're going to be out there for at least another week. No power in Michigan over there? Yep. It's ridiculous, though. I mean, Democrats are touching down in Taiwan, despite the warnings from Beijing, despite the warnings and suggestions that the People's Army wanted to take action directly against the Speaker of the House. They went ahead with a planned visit. I mean, intentionally making it clear that America would stand with a president of a country that we don't officially recognize. We don't recognize Taiwan as a country. Yeah, possible terrorist attacks in America. Here's the thing, if Taiwan is not a country, and we do not recognize them as a country, we recognize them as part of China, why did we go there and why do we set up and act like they were their own country again? To push for war. The U.S. is pushing for war on all sides as we see it pushing up. Iran, of course, not signing a nuclear proliferation deal. The U.S. isn't even going to sign one now. Chinese warships taking up positions around Taiwan is just the beginning. Of course, Beijing is saying the exercise is part of its reaction to the Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. It's going to be the largest drill in more than 25 years, which will last through Sunday. We'll see what actually happens and see how long they're actually there for, because we heard the same thing with Russia. Oh, we're just doing a drill around Ukraine. It's just a drill. Nobody complain, nobody worry, it's just a drill. Next thing you know, massive fighting and influx of people fighting. It's sad. China's retaliating against Taiwan in many key factors and what it means for semiconductors in the United States and other countries abroad could be extremely retaliative. Of course, China just closing off shipping goods to us would be very dangerous. I hope everybody's doing okay with power. I know the storm's going through and everything else. Well, here's the thing. Right now, I know this for a fact, and I've been following and watching what's happening in China. There are a massive amount of troops on the side of China right there, right at the port, right across from Taiwan. A massive amount of actual troops, tanks, vehicles that we haven't seen in a long time are moving there. And then they have a fleet of ships moving there that could easily move that fleet onto Taiwan's mainland. So how quick they do it, and if they appear to be doing that, what are we going to do? Because as of Tuesday, because Pelosi's visit, it showed direct aggression to China, because Taiwan is part of China, whether we think it is or not. And I mean, the newly imposed restrictions on Taiwan's trade through small and a new wave of actions that could be felt across the global supply chain. I mean, imports of over 2,000 individual products originating in Taiwan have been suspended by China. The suspension started Monday as soon as Pelosi's visit was confirmed. The products range from 50 different categories, from fruit imports to vegetables, cakes, cookies, drinks, seafood, and over the total of 3,228 items registered on the imported food import from Taiwan, with China and Taiwan being the largest trading partners. The pressure from China's Communist Party can exercise on the nation's island is extreme. I mean, back in 2021, the country's bilateral trade was worth $273 billion, or 33% of Taiwan's total international trade. Of course, that's mostly imports from direct China. Tam, I don't understand what you're asking about. My title, or who she is and what she did, I do not know. But China accounts for around 300 or 683 million last year in imports or exports to Taiwan alone. Of course, exports from sand for semiconductor production comes from China, and China has suspended exports of natural sands into Taiwan, a key product in the manufacture of semiconductors. The semiconductor industry in Taiwan is the most powerful sector, and the world relies on it, not just, of course, a couple of states. Hello, this is Chris. What can I do for you?
Hey, Chris, Teresa Robin. So, with this Taiwan deal.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Go ahead. I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you, whoever's calling. I am sorry. I had to hang that up. Something's wrong with my call system tonight, you guys. If you're trying to call in, please give me a break for a minute so I can figure out what's going on. Literally, I have no clue at this point. I'm sorry. She start. Who do you think? Nancy Pelosi. What did Nancy Pelosi start? That's the name of the story. I don't know who was calling, but I could not hear them at all. I know you guys could, but don't know. Ukraine's falling apart. China's ready to, of course, they're banning semiconductor import or the import of sand, which is the semiconductor's main material. And the country accounts for 64% of the world's production of semiconductors. So if we don't have Taiwan producing semiconductors for the world, we do not have technology as we see it now. We do not have our internet systems, our power systems, our cell phones, our computers, our technology that we rely on daily. You've seen the semiconductor shortage that happened when people were just sick and there weren't as many people working. Now imagine having no semiconductors produced at all. That's what we're going to see coming up soon. And of course, it'll affect the U.S. and most first world countries the hardest. And China knows exactly what they're doing by doing this. And China's government did not issue any formal communication or official communications about the sanctions related to the sanctions with Pelosi's visit. Maintaining an indirect approach in spite of the series of live fire exercises which were conducted and being conducted still around Taiwan Sea and airspace in the next few coming days. So this is going to be big. Where does Taiwan's revenue go? The problem is Taiwan won't have any revenue. There won't be food for them to eat, and they can't produce semiconductors. So, I mean, it's going to be really, really hard. It is going to be really, really hard for people. If you live in Taiwan, imagine not having food and not having work, a place to work. I mean, 90% of the world's most advanced chips are made in Taiwan. 90%. Taiwan's imports come from China directly. That's where they get their sand. That's where they get their food. That's where they get the stuff to make the stuff they make to sell to the world. And I think it's just the beginning. I'm seeing China now shutting product or sanctioning products that they ship to the United States. I see it happening soon. I really do see it happening soon as they'll start limiting what they send to the U.S., causing more problems in operations within normal U.S. daily life. And we'll see it affect more and more people as China slowly closes their doors. China knows what they're doing, and they've done it before. Look at history. They've operated as an independent nation with no reliance on any other nation but themselves for a long time. They closed their borders to everyone at one point. And I'm thinking we're going to see it again. Not only that, the U.S. is facing even more bad news as a lot of companies are announcing layoffs amidst lower profit forecasts. Walmart being one of them. Walmart's announcing that it will be its second quarter decline around 9%, will be forcing a number of layoffs coming up. Layoffs. They're expecting to drop at least 13% of employees during the double-digit food inflation crisis. That's right. Inflation is probably going to hit double digits coming up when they give inflation numbers. So be prepared for those coming Friday along with job numbers. It's sad. And it's not just Walmart. We're looking at a massive amount of companies announcing massive layoffs. Robinhood cutting additional 23% of staff they just announced. An additional 23% on top of the 18% they cut last month. In April, the company laid off 9% of its staff. So total layoff on most companies is becoming ridiculous. And we're not talking about job loss because half of these people aren't even counting yet in the job market. Inflation's at 40-year highs, and companies cannot bear the burden anymore. People aren't spending money on anything besides within basic necessities now. Even Shopify is reducing its workforce. 10% of staff is getting laid off by Shopify. Ford Motor Company, of course, is announcing more layoffs, maybe 12% of its workforce. S&P declining. Labor reports more than 244,000 people filed for unemployment last week alone. 244,000 people filed for unemployment last week alone. That's 250,000 people in 1 week. You understand that? 250,000 people in 1 week filed for unemployment. Biden's, of course, we're not in a recession. That's his motto, anyways. We're not in a recession, but yet 244,000 people filed for unemployment in a week. Job market's doing so great. It's not. The problem is we're not trying to face facts anymore. We're trying to face this fictional story that we want to tell ourselves that everything's all right, and it's not. And it's okay for everything not to be all right. Try to tell our government that, though. That's the problem. They don't want to hear it. They do not want to hear that everything is not all right. Sorry, but that's the truth. If you were trying to call in the show earlier, I think I got the calls working, back up and working. If you want to try to call in again, you can. Definitely got a lot to talk about, though. If you guys want to call and talk, give you guys an opportunity to voice your opinions on what's happening. Because that's what we're about here in Real News Live. It's not just getting you guys the news, but China's plan to launch missiles over Taiwan or into Taiwan is coming up. And that's trouble that's just escalating, even though Nancy Pelosi's gone. FEMA, of course, warns the emergency alert system is hacked and can transmit fake messages unless the software is updated immediately. It's ridiculous. At this point, we're going to have at least 3 negative quarters because now we have massive layoffs happening. I mean, 244,000 people in a week is a lot of people. For not having a pandemic, not having a war, not having nothing going on, just that many people being laid off because the economy is that bad. When prices are already at the highest. Yeah, China's not stupid. They know how to push what they can push. We're talking about Russia not being able to get chips to build their new planes, which they are, obviously. So is China. But now, nobody's going to be able to get new chips to build any new technology around the world. So imagine high car prices are just the beginning. It's going to be sad. Sad times ahead. That's all I could say. Pelosi started something we do not need. We do not need as American citizens. We do not need anywhere in our world today. We're watching even Walmart's corporate staff getting slashed, over 200 jobs in the corporate office today. Big numbers. Lumber prices falling to new low this year. As reality sets in, the housing market isn't going back to normal anytime soon. With interest rates at an all-time high, or not an all-time high, but a high for the last 5 or 6 years. People can't afford to get a new mortgage, if they can even get approved at this point, because risk of layoffs of their job. U.S. gas crisis is set to plunge British pound to historical lows. The U.S. dollar, of course, is not holding up much better. Where did we go wrong? I remember back in 2000 or 2019, everything was going okay. It wasn't. I can't say it was the best America's ever been, but we were doing good. Seems like somebody stepped into office though, and just like we fell apart. Our country fell apart as we watched what happened. And it's sad. But thank you guys for being here with me and with us tonight. We're hoping we can make it through this. OPEC is supposed to increase fuel in a very minor amount. That's what they said, very, very minor amount. If they do increase fuel production, just because there's more fuel being burnt than actually produced right now. We'll see if that helps. It's sad. Take control. Stand up. All right, I should be able to hear you now.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now I can. How you doing?
Cool. Let me put you on mute on my computer. There we go. I think we're good.
I don't know what was going on before.
Yeah, that was weird. It's not the first time today that my phone's done some strange things. So I don't know. I don't know if it was on your end or my end.
It was on my end because I could see your audio coming in through my output software, but I couldn't hear you at all.
Oh, okay. Weird. So anyway, what I wanted to say with the Taiwan deal, so yeah, Taiwan's got the technology for the semiconductors. They've got the manufacturing down for that. But originally, Taiwan was really part of China. And my question with, okay, Taiwan's got a lot of revenue coming in. Where does that revenue go? I think
back to
I
China.
don't know where it goes. Yeah, okay. If it goes back to China, then I would think Taiwan is part of China.
Taiwan's always been part of China. Like even beginning of this year, we signed one China policy. The UN signed it, NATO signed it, America signed it both with NATO and the UN, stating that Taiwan was part of China. You heard at the beginning of this year, Joe Biden saying we would not defend Taiwan against China. It is China's territory. All of a sudden, we became this Ukraine crisis happened, and now we think we control democracy around the world again, which is just ridiculous. This is where we shouldn't be stepping in.
Exactly. And the fact that, if we're sending our Speaker of the House flying into Taiwan without China okaying it, we're overstepping our bounds, basically not asking the parent if it's okay to send and go and talk to their child.
Yeah, because
that's the way I see it.
Taiwan's been listed ever since they even got, I guess, their semi-freedom. Was just like Hong Kong. They're a self-ruling part of China. Or Beijing. Beijing was once a self-ruling part of China, and they finally reincorporated it. Taiwan was the same way, and they want to reincorporate. China no longer wants them to be on separate wavelengths. They want it all to be one government and one China policy. It was part of that, and we signed it. So why are we stepping in the middle of it?
Yeah, so why are we stepping
other than elections are coming up?
Poking the dog. That's
we won a war. There has to be some reason.
Yeah, it looks like a setup. It totally looks like a setup.
It looks like a way to lead America into war.
Yep, exactly.
And that's what scares me is how many American lives are going to be lost over something we shouldn't have been involved in the first place.
Yep.
People don't realize if China were to say we're shutting our borders today, they can handle themselves. They produce enough food. They get enough oil and gas. They have no problem. They can handle themselves. The problem is all the products they make, we don't make anything here. Try to find one thing in your house that is not made in China. One thing.
right.
Besides,
But
even if you pick up a marker that says made in the U.S., I guarantee the plastic casing for that marker was made in China.
right. But you got to think too that okay, there's a lot of different angles going on here. Does China really want to destroy its biggest customer? And that's what the United States is. It's its biggest customer.
Well, that's the thing, and we've been the biggest customer of China for a long time. But the problem is
Yeah.
our dollar is no longer the world's currency. And that's the reason we were the biggest customer, is because they wanted US dollars. So they sold stuff that US dollars bought. Now you see some of the stuff China's coming out with, it's higher quality goods because they want to sell to higher end countries like Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So
Yeah,
their dollars
they
become the dominant dollar. Once they become dominant dollars, there's no reason for us anymore.
they still don't have the development knowledge, so they're good at copying, but the development and yeah, that the development part's still not there. It's not going to happen for a long time, if ever. I think it's partly a cultural thing. But man, can they copy? They can copy like nobody else.
And if you look, the reason I'm saying is I know China has no problem closing their borders. If you look back 200 years ago, China closed their borders, and their borders were closed for almost 500 years.
Wow.
And they were a big exporter at the time when they closed their borders, but they closed their border to war against the Mongolians. And they were afraid of Russia and Mongolia and all that, so they closed their borders off. And they did it for over 500 years. There was not a problem. I mean, if you look at China, it's the oldest country that is still around today.
Yeah.
I mean, they have decades, they have centuries of civilization. There's no other country today that can say that.
Yeah, that's true. We're the new world over here in North America.
Well, even Russia's a new world.
Yeah,
If
true.
Russia's only what 1994 when Russia finally became Russia again.
Well,
Yeah, they took
I
on
mean,
some
take
stuff
the
from the Soviet
namesake
Union.
away and just talk about the population and you know.
Well, a lot of the populations even changed. But it's scary watching what's happening. I mean, especially because the U.S. politicians shouldn't be involved in Taiwan.
Yep. Yeah, and with my closing, yeah, it's just very scary the fact that we think our politicians and our certain sects of the government can just disgrace or ignore certain governments and just go. I think that's just dumb. It's not the will of the people, and they just do what they want to do, and it's ridiculous. And the people have to stand up. Our government has they think that they have the right to do anything, and no, the United States, they need to listen to the will of the people, and they can't go against that, and that's the problem.
You look at what's happening in the U.S. Nobody's been to Kentucky. Nobody's talking about Kentucky. But we're going to foreign countries to like Taiwan when we have major problems in the U.S. alone, which is ridiculous. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, we've got no business being over there. It's like sending tyrants over to govern over a foreign land. That's dumb. And the global governments see that. We've got very much overreach within our own government, and that needs to stop. It's dumb. Let's just govern our own people, stay within our borders, and protect the people of the United States. That's really what needs to happen. I wish it would. But hey, Chris, I'm going to let you go. I thank you for the chat.
Well, thank you, Teresa. We definitely appreciate you guys calling in. God bless and have a safe night.
Yep. God bless. Thank you. Bye now.
Yeah, but really, why are we in places we shouldn't be? Every time we turn around, even Taiwan was protesting that Pelosi showed up there. There was people in Taiwan protesting. So it's just one thing after another, really. And what are we going to do next? Who knows? I mean, the new IRS, 80% of the new IRS revenue is going to be coming from the businesses earning $200,000 or less a year. That's what was tucked into that nice economic bill. Yeah, the billionaires are going to pay. No, it's the people, the companies that barely make anything and are paying 4 or 5 employees. And they're going to have to shut their doors. You wonder what's happening. That's what you can tell your Democratic friends out there. Yeah, actors everywhere. But God bless you guys. I will see you on Wednesday night. Or wait, tonight's Wednesday. I guess Friday night. I will see you guys Friday night. Stay safe. Stay tuned. Hopefully power gets restored quickly amongst the areas that are without power right now. Everyone is getting screwed over. Everything is screwing everybody over. God bless you. God bless America. And I hope we make it till Friday. Good night.